My son informed me I wasn't welcome at Christmas, so I halted his house payment. My name is John Davis, and I'm a 63-year-old retired electrician from Boston. For 3 years, I've sent $2,890 each month to keep my son and his wife in their ideal home. For 3 years, I've heard her softly fix my grammar, seen my boy drift from all his mother and I taught him, and ignored when they seated me in the back at family shots. But when my Harvard-trained son declared I wasn't fit for Christmas dinner with his in-laws at their country club, something in me broke. What followed revealed lies far deeper than I'd guessed and altered our family forever. I didn't shout. I didn't fight. I just opened my laptop, signed into my bank, and made one tiny shift that would cost them all. If you're viewing this, hit subscribe and tell me where you're tuning in from. This is the tale of how a man who wired half the homes in this town showed his son that respect isn't optional, it's earned. Let me rewind and explain how I arrived here, because I wasn't always the guy stopping house payments. 3 years back, I was a proud dad watching his son wed. Michael is my only child. 28 years old, a marketing manager at a tech company, earned his degree from Harvard Extension. All his mother and I hoped for when we pinched pennies to fund his college. We believed we'd done everything right. Then he met Emily Harper. Emily is a corporate lawyer, 31, earns $180,000 yearly, hails from old Boston wealth, the type of clan with membership at Riverside Country Club since 1952, the type that treats summer as a verb. I should have spotted the red flags at their wedding. In truth, I did spot them. I just refused to accept what I saw. The first clue came at the rehearsal dinner. We're gathered around a long table at a posh spot in Back Bay. Emily's father shares tales of their real estate holdings. Her mother chats about their upcoming trip to Martha's Vineyard. Typical rich folk talk, nothing amiss there. But then Emily turns to me and says, "John, why don't you share about your job?" The pause before job hung just long enough for all to catch, like she sought the kindest way to label a blue-collar gig. So I spoke about electrical contracting, how I grew my firm from zero, handled some of the largest builds in Greater Boston, had 12 men on payroll at my peak. I felt proud of my achievements, yet Emily kept assisting me. Every few lines, she'd cut in with small tweaks. What John means is he oversaw electrical setups. That's intriguing, so you basically coordinated projects. Oh, like facility oversight. Each tweak shrank my 40 years of skill into something tinier, more digestible, less awkward for her crowd to hear. Michael stayed quiet. Didn't utter a word. The second red flag hit 6 months later. Michael and Emily purchased their house. A lovely colonial in Newton, $485,000. They asked me over for a housewarming gathering. When I rolled up in my 2018 F-150, Michael jogged out before I reached the door. "Hey Dad, mind parking in back? Emily's coworkers are here and well, you get it." I didn't get it, but I shifted my truck. Inside, I saw my son present me to his pals. "This is my father, John. He's retired. That's all." No word of what I retired from, no nod to the company I built, no hint that I'd funded his whole education. Just retired, as if I lived on Social Security and played shuffleboard. But what truly stung me was Emily spending the night fixing my speech. "Actually, John, I believe you mean regardless, not irregardless. The correct phrase is, couldn't care less, not could care less. It's for all intents and purposes, not for all intensive purposes." Every fix came with that sugary grin, like she was aiding me, like she was polishing me for display. And Michael, he nodded along, as if she were his private grammar coach instead of his dad. I began noticing the trend everywhere. Family meals where Emily would rephrase my tales for her folks. Holiday events where Michael would steer talk away from my trade phone chats that grew briefer and briefer. I was turning into the awkward kin, the one you adore but hide when guests arrive. Yet I stayed silent, kept sending checks, kept wishing this stage would fade, and my son would recall his roots. That was my initial error, assuming quiet would safeguard our bond rather than ruin it. You must grasp what truly hung in the balance here. This wasn't merely about wounded pride or household tension. This was about seeing my son's spirit vanish bit by bit, dollar by dollar. See, 3 years ago, near Michael's wedding, my wife Margaret was battling cancer. We'd been wed 34 years. She was a kindergarten teacher, the strongest lady I knew, could manage 25 five-year-olds and still assist me with firm paperwork evenings. But cancer ignores toughness. The costs drained us. Even with coverage, we faced $89,340 out of pocket. Trial meds, expert visits, trips to Mass General thrice weekly. I sold my electrical firm to meet those bills. 40 years of growth gone in 6 months. But it was worth every cent if it bought more time with Margaret. She passed on March 15, 2021. Michael was there, holding her hand, weeping like the small boy I recalled. For an instant, I hoped sorrow might reunite us. Margaret's final words to Michael were straightforward. Care for your father. Family is all. 2 weeks post-funeral, Michael and Emily approached me with an idea. Dad, Michael said, we located this perfect house in Newton. It's ideal for starting kids, but the house payment will stretch us with Emily's school debt. Emily chimed in with that useful tone. We figured since you have life insurance funds and Michael is your sole heir anyway, perhaps you could assist with the down payment. View it as advance inheritance. They required $125,000 for down payment and fees. I had $312,000 remaining after Margaret's care and the firm sale, all we'd saved over 34 years of marriage, squeezed into one account. But here's what they omitted. They wanted me to cover the monthly house payment too. Just temporarily, Emily clarified. Until Michael lands his next raise. Perhaps 2 years tops. $2,890 monthly. Every month for 2 years, Max I agreed because Margaret's words still echoed. Family is all. But 2 years turned to 3. Michael's raise never came. His short-term aid need became endless reliance. And the more I paid, the less regard I received. You see, here's what I discovered about cash and kin. When you fund someone's life, they begin to resent you for it. Not thank you, resent you. Because each dollar you provide reminds them they can't manage alone. Michael started dodging my calls. Emily began treating me like paid staff instead of kin. They'd invite me to meals and ask me to repair that outlet in the kitchen while I'm here. I was morphing into the family bank with a wrench set, but if I quit paying, what then? First, they'd lose the house. That $485,000 property would face foreclosure in 90 days. Michael's credit would shatter. Emily's firm partners would probe their money stability. Second, Michael would never pardon me. He'd view it as desertion, not responsibility. I'd lose my son entirely. Third, Margaret's dying wish, care for your father, would ring hollow. Because the reality was, I'd been caring for them. But here's what frightened me most. If I stayed mute, kept paying, kept tolerating their disdain, Michael would never learn self-reliance. He'd turn into precisely what Emily's clan already saw him as, a handout case who wed up and dragged his awkward dad along. I was watching my son fade into another's vision of who he ought to be. Every house payment I sent fueled his shift from the teen who helped me rewire homes in summer breaks into this stranger ashamed of his origins. The cash wasn't the true stake. I could manage $2,890 monthly. What I couldn't manage was seeing my boy lose his essence one check at a time. Margaret used to say, "Money is merely a tool, John, but respect is the base of every tie." I was handing them the tool while they tore down the base. That's what truly hung in the balance, not just our tie, but Michael's character, and I was realizing my kindness wasn't aiding him grow better, it was letting him become someone I didn't know. Someone who'd bar his own dad from Christmas because he wasn't fit for refined company. The query I kept pondering was basic. What would Margaret want me to do? And I was starting to think I knew the reply. The call that shifted all came on December 15, 2024 at 7:23 p.m. I was in my workshop sorting tools, a routine I'd kept from 40 years running crews. All in place, marked and tidy. Margaret used to tease that my workshop was cleaner than our kitchen. My phone buzzed. Michael's name lit up. Hey Dad, hey son, how's it going? Fine, fine. Listen, I need to discuss Christmas. Sure. What time should I arrive? Pause. Longer than normal. Well, that's the issue. We're holding Christmas at the club this year. Sounds pleasant. What time should I show? Actually, Emily's parents are flying in from Connecticut. Okay, extra family. They're staying through New Year's. I understand. Another pause. I heard Emily speaking in the back, but words were unclear. It's just they're accustomed to a specific setting. What setting? You know, formal meals, wine samplings, that kind of thing. Michael, are you saying I'm not invited to Christmas? It's not that straightforward, Dad. Yes or no, son? Am I invited to Christmas dinner? Longest pause yet. Not this year, Dad. I'm sorry. I set down the socket wrench I held, placed it precisely in its slot. I see. Look, we'll do something. Just us three. Maybe the day after Christmas. Emily suggested we could take you to that diner you enjoy on Route 1. The diner I enjoy, like I was a kid getting a leftover treat. Michael, can you put Emily on the line? Dad, she's busy helping her mom with put her on the line. Muffled talk, footsteps. Then Emily's voice, bright and businesslike. Hi, John. Michael said you two were discussing holidays. Emily, I have a basic question. Of course, in 3 years, how much cash have I handed you? And Michael, sorry, simple addition, monthly house payments. 3 years, how much? John, I don't think now's the moment. $104,040. That's how much. Silence. Plus the down payment, $125,000. Plus the closing costs I handled, $8,200. Total $137,240. John, we're deeply thankful. Are you? Of course. Then why am I barred from Christmas? It's complex. Michael's worked hard to forge ties with key clients. My father's firm reps some of the largest. Stop. I'm sorry. I said stop. You're justifying why I'm awkward. I asked why I'm not invited. John, that's not what I meant. Yes, it is. I heard Michael in the back. Everything all right? Emily covered the phone, more muffled talk. Then Michael returned. Dad, you're misreading this. How should I read it? It's just one Christmas. Emily's parents are quite traditional. They're not used to blending social groups. Social groups? You know what I mean? No, Michael, I don't. Spell it out. Dad, come on. Spell out what social group I fit in. You're being tough. I'm being precise. What social group? Silence. Michael, your mother passed thinking you were a decent man. Don't bring Mom in. She's already in. Every dollar I've sent for your house was cash she and I saved together for 34 years. Dad, she passed thinking you'd care for family, not manage them, not bar them, care for them. We do care for you. How? We invite you to meals. We call. When's the last time you asked about my days? Pause. When's the last time you asked if I needed help? Longer pause. When's the last time you treated me like your dad instead of your wallet? That's not fair. Fair would be inviting me to Christmas after paying for your house, Dad. You're complicating this more than needed. No, Michael, you're making it exactly as tough as required. I heard Emily coaching him in the back. Look, Michael said. We'll make it up. New Year's Eve. Maybe we could. Michael, yeah. Remember helping me rewire the Kelly home when you were 16? What's that got to do with it? Remember what you told Mrs. Kelly when she tried tipping you $20? Dad, I really don't see. You said, no ma'am, I'm family. Family doesn't charge family. Silence. You were 16 and grasped something about respect you've forgotten at 28. This is different. How? Dad, please, can we agree to meet on the 26th? I stepped to my bench and lifted the framed photo of Margaret cradling baby Michael 28 years back. Different era. Michael, I'll ask once more. Is your dad invited to Christmas dinner? Dad, yes or no? No, you're not invited. I set the photo down. Okay. Dad, wait. I said. Okay. Are you upset? No, son, I'm clear. What's that mean? It means I finally see what's occurring. Dad, you're frightening me. Good night, Michael. Dad, wait. I ended the call. Then I went to my desk, fired up my laptop, and entered my bank. The auto payment to Michael's house lender was set for December 20th. 5 days off, I hit cancel recurring payment. Confirmation page. Sure you wish to cancel this auto payment? I thought of Margaret. I thought of Christmas dinner at a club where I wasn't fit company. I hit confirm. Payment canceled. But that was merely the start. After canceling, I lingered in my workshop long, just reflecting. The room was still, save the hum of the old fridge where I stored beer and Margaret's homemade pickles, still working through her final batch. Here's what Michael and Emily didn't know about their house setup. I owned that house, not them. Me. When they asked for aid 3 years back, I didn't just supply down payment cash. I purchased the house outright and let them believe they were paying a bank. See, after Margaret died, I knew Michael would need more support than he'd admit. Emily's school loans crushed them, $3,200 monthly just for her law debt. Michael's pay was solid, but not enough for a $485,000 house on top of all else. So I collaborated with my lawyer, Robert Thompson, who I'd rewired his office in 2019. Robert proposed a private house loan setup. Basically, I'd buy the house in my name and Michael would pay me instead of a bank. Benefit for Michael, lower rate, flexible terms. Benefit for me, full legal control if issues arose. John, Robert had said, this safeguards all. Michael gets his house, you get protection, and if you pass, the house passes to him via your will. It felt win-win then, but here's what I never shared with Michael. The house payments he'd made weren't to a bank. They went straight to a separate account I created. Gaining interest every dollar he paid me remained his. Essentially, I was banking it. My plan was to surprise him on his 30th birthday, return all payments plus interest, transfer the deed, and express how proud I was he'd met his pledge. That was before Christmas turned into a social group matter. Now, in my workshop, I saw Michael was about to learn hard truths about his money state. I grabbed my phone and dialed Robert Thompson. John, how are you coping? Been a bit since we spoke. I'm all right, Robert. Listen, I need you to grab the docs on Michael's house. All good? Depends on your view of good. How fast can you get me copies of the deed and loan papers? 24 hours, maybe sooner if urgent. It's urgent. John, what's happening? I told him about the Christmas chat, about 3 years of rising disdain, about Michael barring me from family events. Robert was silent long. John, you know what this means, legally. I mean, I know precisely. You could issue 30 days notice and they'd need to leave. It's your property, I'm aware. But John, this is your son. Robert, let me ask, if your son treated you like paid help after you'd given him all, what would you do? I honestly don't know. Well, I'm about to discover what I'm made of. Want me to draft termination papers? Not yet. First, I need you somewhere this weekend. Where? Riverside Country Club Christmas dinner. Emily's family will attend. John, I'm not a member at Riverside. You are now. I'm sponsoring your guest pass temporary, just for the weekend. Why me there? Because when Michael learns the truth about his house setup, I want to be before the folks he's picked over family. John, sure about this? Robert, never been sure this could wreck your tie with your son. Robert, my tie with my son is already wrecked. He just doesn't realize yet. All right, I'll be there. And Robert, bring the papers. Which? All. After hanging up, I went to the safe behind my tool board. Inside were key papers Margaret and I gathered over 34 years of marriage property deeds, insurance, bank records, investments, and something else Michael didn't know. The recordings. I'd been documenting all for months. Christmas dinner at Riverside Country Club was all you'd expect from a spot excluding folks like me for 70 years. I wasn't invited, but that didn't halt me from booking. Members can bring guests, and technically, I'd sponsored Robert Thompson's temporary membership that day. Robert could bring a guest. That guest was me, Michael, and Emily had no clue I'd come. They'd planned their ideal night. Emily's parents down from Connecticut, Michael's boss and wife, some colleagues from Emily's firm, 12 total, Seated at a long table in the mahogany room overlooking the Charles River, I arrived at 6:45 p.m., 15 minutes early for their slot. Robert was there, uneasy in his best suit. John, still think this is wise? Robert, sometimes unwise plans are the only ones that work. The hostess sat us 3 tables off from Michael's group, near enough to catch talk, far enough to watch without instant notice. I observed my son through the dinner crowd. He was lively, assured, sharing work stories. Emily kept her hand on his arm, steering talk, shifting topics when too personal. At 7:15, Emily's father, William Harper, rose for a toast. "To Michael and Emily," he said, lifting his wine, "and to their bright future." All drank, polite claps. Then William went on, "Michael, I must say, I admire your ambition, building a career, securing a fine home, setting yourself in the community. You've truly lifted yourself by your bootstraps." More claps. That's when Michael said it. "Well, Emily has been a major guide. She's taught me tons about professional presentation, about blending into settings like this." "That's lovely," said Emily's mother. "It's vital to surround yourself with those who raise your bars." "Absolutely," Michael answered. "I mean, growing up, I lacked access to spots like this. My upbringing was quite restricted." "But you've surpassed that," William said. "That's what I respect. You didn't let your situation define you." Michael nodded. "Right. I chose consciously to evolve, to grow past where I started." "I felt ice settle in my chest," Emily added. "Michael's father is a charming man, but he's quite fixed in his ways, classic working-class principles. Michael's done a superb job adjusting to a more refined setting. That must have been tough," said one of Emily's colleagues. "It was," Michael said. "But you know the saying, sometimes you must separate from those who drag you down." Robert eyed me. "John, wait," I whispered. Emily's father leaned in. "Michael, where does your drive come from? That's not teachable in business school." Michael smiled. "Honestly, I think I inherit that from my mother. She was a teacher, very structured, very value-driven. She taught me success stems from learning and circling with the right crowd." "And your father?" William asked. Michael paused. "My father he's from another era, different principles. He means well, but his view is quite narrow. Blue-collar mindset, you know. Work with hands, keep head low, don't reach too far." How tragic, Emily's mother said. Thank goodness Michael had strong maternal guidance. "Yeah," Michael said. "Mom always urged me to aim higher, to not accept limits." I rose. Robert grabbed my arm. "John, don't," but I was already heading to their table. Talk died as I neared. Michael's face paled. Emily looked ghost-struck. "Evening all," I said calmly. "Lovely night for a meal, Dad." Michael's voice barely audible. "What are you doing here?" "Enjoying Christmas dinner." "You recall Christmas, right, Michael?" "Family occasion." William Harper looked puzzled. "Michael, is this William Harper?" I said, offering my hand. "John Davis, Michael's father." William shook cautiously. "Mr. Davis, Michael's shared much about you." "Has he?" "Curious. What precisely has he shared?" Silence at the table. "Dad," Michael said, "perhaps we should—" "No. I'm interested." Michael was just detailing how his drive comes from his mother, how his father's view is narrow and restricted. Emily tried to step in. "John, I think there's a mix-up." "Has there?" "Because I heard my son tell this table that sometimes you must separate from those who drag you down." More silence. "Michael," I said, "tell these fine folks about your house payment. Dad, please tell them how much you send monthly. This isn't the spot. $2,890. That's how much Michael sends monthly for his lovely Newton home." William nodded politely. "Wonderful that he set himself so well." "Oh, he hasn't sent a cent," I said. The table went dead quiet. "I'm sorry," Emily's mother said. "Michael hasn't made a house payment in 3 years. I have." Michael stared at his plate. "Dad, stop. Every month, $2,890. Want the total, William?" "John, please," Emily whispered. $104,040 plus down payment, plus closing, grand total $137,240. You could hear forks drop around the room. Other talks halted as folks tuned in. But here's the fascinating part. I went on, Michael doesn't have a house loan. What do you mean? William asked. I mean, I own his house, bought it fully. Michael's been paying me, not a bank. Emily looked ready to vomit. So when Michael speaks of lifting by bootstraps, he means his father bought bootstraps, tied them, and hauled him up the ladder. Dad, you're shaming yourself, Michael said softly. Am I? Let me share what's shaming, son. Shaming is hearing you tell these folks your father drags you while I fund the roof overhead. The whole room listened. Now, what's shaming is hearing you credit success to all but the man who enabled it. I pulled a folded sheet from my jacket. Michael, know what this is? He wouldn't look. It's the deed to your house. Want to see the name? I unfolded and set it on the table. John Robert Davis. That's me, son. I own your house, I own your life, and clearly, I own your respect since you're not offering it freely. Emily began crying. Now, I said, eyeing the table, anyone care to learn what happens when you bar family from Christmas? The silence at that table was the heaviest I'd known. 12 folks staring at a paper that flipped all they thought they knew about Michael Davis. William Harper lifted the deed with trembling hands. His wife leaned to read. Emily's firm colleague stretched to see. This is genuine? William asked. Recorded at Middlesex County Registry of Deeds on April 3, 2021. I said, feel free to check. Michael finally looked up. Face red, but from rage, not shame. Dad, you had no right here. Didn't I? You had right to discuss my limits with strangers, but I lack right to discuss my aid. Emily tried composing John. We can discuss at home. Home? Which Emily? The one I bought or your parents in Connecticut? That's when Robert Thompson appeared. Pardon, he said, holding a manila folder. Mr. Davis, you asked for these docs. Robert played perfectly. Robert Thompson, I said to the table. My lawyer. Robert, these are the people Michael mentioned, the ones who think he lifted by bootstraps. Robert nodded politely and passed me the folder. All here, John. Property records, payment log, bank statements, investment summary. I opened and spread papers like cards. Let's view. Michael's house. $485,000 buy price. 0 loan balance. Paid fully by John R. Davis. I set the first before William. Michael's car, 2022 Honda Accord lease payments by John R. Davis. Second doc. Emily's BMW X5. Down in lease payments. John R. Davis. Emily's mother gasped. Emily's school loan payments $3,200 monthly 3 years. Total paid $115,200. By John R. Davis. More papers hit the table. Michael shook. Dad, stop, please. Credit card payments, insurance, Napa trip last year, all John R. Davis. I looked up. Anyone guess the total? William added in his head. This must be $342,000. That's what I've spent on Michael and Emily in 3 years. The room was utterly quiet. Every table listened. But wait, I said, pulling another. There's more. Robert passed a bank statement. This is my current money position. Liquid $312,450. Investments $1.2 million. Real estate $2.3 million. Emily's father choked on wine. Total net worth about $3.8 million. The figure lingered like fog. So when my son discusses his restricted blue-collar dad with narrow views, he means a man worth 4 times this table's yearly earnings. William Harper looked struck. But here's my favorite, I said, pulling final paper. Michael, remember that recording app you installed on my phone last Christmas? Said it'd help recall key talks? Michael's eyes widened. I've used it. Great tech. Want highlights? I pulled my phone, found the file. This from 3 weeks back. Michael and Emily planning Christmas. I hit play. Michael's voice filled the room. We can't have Dad at club Christmas dinner. He'll embarrass us. Emily's voice. He means well, but he doesn't fit our crowd, Michael. Exactly. Dad's great for fixing house stuff, but we're building ties with key folks. Emily, maybe take him to that Route 1 diner after keep him content but separate. I paused. More? I have 47 minutes. The table froze. Here's another gem. Last month. Emily to her mom on speaker. I hit play. Emily's voice. Michael's father is sweet but very basic. We're helping Michael settle with a more refined group. Better limit exposure to certain family aspects. Her mom's voice. Very wise, dear. Michael's fortunate you guide his social growth. I stopped and eyed Emily's mom. Know that voice, Mrs. Harper? She stared at her hands. Now, I said, let me outline next steps. I pulled the last doc, a 30-day notice to vacate. Michael, your official eviction. You have 30 days to leave my property, Dad. You can't. I can and am. Robert. Robert cleared throat. Mr. Davis owns outright. Massachusetts law lets him end any rental with proper notice. No formal lease, 30 days exceeds enough. But Dad, Michael said, where do we go? Don't know, son. Maybe lift by bootstraps. Emily cried openly. John, please, we can resolve. Can we? Emily, 3 hours back, you told these folks I have narrow views and limited principles. Lying then or now? I didn't mean, which, am I limited or someone to resolve with? She couldn't reply. William Harper found voice. Mr. Davis, I think a grave mix-up. Has there? William, your daughter just spent an hour explaining how Michael surpassed his roots. What exactly did he surpass? Well, he surpassed a father who paid his schooling, bought his house, covered his wife's debts, funded their life, while they griped about his limits. I collected papers back into folder. William, you asked Michael's drive source. Let me tell. He gets it from a man who built a firm from nothing, worked 70-hour weeks 40 years, employed 12, and helped them feed families. I stood. He gets it from a man who sold all to pay wife's cancer care, then used retirement savings, giving son a life he couldn't afford alone. I eyed Michael. That's your drive source, son. Not distancing from limits, embracing the man who never limited you. The room was dead silent. But you're right on one point. Sometimes you must distance from those who drag. I grabbed my coat. Merry Christmas all. Enjoy your refined meal. As I headed out, I heard sobs, angry murmurs, chairs scraping floors. Robert caught me in the lot. John, that was needed. What now? Now Michael learns paying own bills. Really evict? I glanced back at the club, warm light spilling from windows. Robert, I raised a boy who'd share last dollar with a stranger. Somehow he became a man who won't share Christmas with his dad. Doesn't answer. The eviction is real. What Michael does with it is his. Meaning. If he wants the house, he'll recall how to treat his dad like family, not paid help. I climbed in my truck and drove home, leaving Michael to explain to his refined pals why his limited dad owned their world. I didn't sleep that night. At 2:17 a.m., my phone rang. Michael. I let voicemail. Then Emily called, then Michael again. By 3 a.m., 11 missed, 14 texts. Texts began, sorry. Dad, sorry. Need talk. Please ring back. Can resolve. Didn't mean dinner words. Then desperate. Dad. Bank called. Said December payment declined. Emily crying. Thinks job loss. Please don't. We're family. Finally angry. This is manipulation. You're ruining us over one talk. Mom ashamed of you. That last text got me up. I rang Michael at 5:45 a.m. Dad, thank God. Michael, never use your mom's memory to twist me. Dad, I didn't mean your mom died thinking you decent. Don't prove her wrong. What do you want? Want you grasp what you've done. I erred. Said things I shouldn't. No, Michael, you didn't err. You showed who you are, not fair. Fair would be inviting Dad to Christmas after he paid your life 3 years. Dad, please say what to do. Want you choose. Choose what? Wife's social group or Dad's respect? Dad, not one or other. Yes, because 3 years proved you can't both. What's that mean? Means 30 days decide if David Miller or Emily's husband. That's not real choice. Sure is. David Miller is kid who refused tip from Mrs. Kelly because family doesn't charge Emily's husband charges dad Christmas entry. Dad, which you want? Silence. Michael, here's plan. Giving exactly what you sought. What mean? Independence, self-reliance, bootstrap chance without limited dad dragging dad. I can't afford what? House, cars, insurance, cards, Emily's loans? You know I can't. Then learn what I learned 40 years back, live in means. Dad, this destroys financially. Good. Maybe money pressure teaches respect, money aid couldn't. Really evict, Michael. Really stop funding disdain. What's that mean? Means January 1st, you pay own bills. All. House. Stay if want, but market rent. $3,400 month. Dad, more than old payment what real landlords charge. Gave family rate, cars, transfer leases or return. Emily's loans, Emily's issue. Dad, she'll leave. Then know what she valued you or account. Insane. Michael, let me explain insane. Insane is man paying $137,000 so son has unaffordable life. Then hearing son tell strangers he surpassed dad's limits, just tried fit in, no, tried trade up. Difference. Dad, please another chance. Giving exactly you want, Michael. Succeed son's embarrassing dad, help but can't afford. Then better jobs, smaller house, older cars, live adults, not kids with trust. Dad. Michael, not angry now. Disappointed. Disappointment doesn't write checks. What about Christmas? Family. Family what you value, Michael. 3 years showed where family ranks. Below what? Below Emily's career, below status, below stranger opinions at clubs. Not true. Prove. How? Figure. Harvard man, solve sans daddy aid. Dad, love you, son. Why I'm doing this, don't understand. Will. Hung up and drove to Robert Thompson's office. Robert, need docs prepared. What kind? Rental deal, market rate, month to month. John, sure? Sure son, about to learn earning respect versus inheriting. What if can't pay? Moves where can. What if Emily leaves? Knows what she valued in marriage. John, could backfire, lose son fully. Robert, lost son 3 years back. Just learned yesterday. What if chooses Emily's world? No raised fool not man, if chooses me, maybe not late save him. Robert drafted docs. Clean, legal, fair, no family deals, no special aid, no funded respect, just market for market conduct. Michael had 30 days decide who he was. Results hit fast. Emily's firm called emergency partners meet December 26th. Apparently William Harper phoned around word spread in Boston legal circles about young lawyer whose life funded by father-in-law, same she dismissed publicly as limited simple. Emily's hours quietly cut, partnership talks delayed. No direct words, but clear message. Handle personal mess or seek new firm. Michael's boss at marketing firm asked about BMW in lot. Earning $68,000 yearly, driving $67,000 car, folks notice. Especially when father-in-law owns house you claim affords solo. House lender Michael thought paid 3 years didn't exist. When he called explaining declined payment, no record of him. Took 2 days, realized payments went dad's account. Emily's parents shortened Connecticut stay, flew home December 27th. Mrs. Harper left note. Disappointed how this reflects family. Emily decides Sterling or Davis. Social hits swift brutal. Michael and Emily quietly uninvited New Year's Eve club names off spring fundraiser. Emily's mom quit calls, but money hits worse. Sans my aid, monthly costs topped income $4,200. BMW lease $890 alone, more than groceries. Emily's loan $3,200 monthly. Add rent, insurance, utilities, cards, drowning. Michael tried return BMW, early break $8,900, lacked it. Emily sought hardship deferment loans, firm pay, too high qualified listed furniture Facebook marketplace. Emily's ring to buyer $12,000, half paid. Worst was silence. Neither Michael nor Emily called 6 days post-Christmas. No sorry, no explain, no acknowledge change. January 2nd, Michael appeared at house. I sorted tools workshop heard car driveway. Not BMW, rusty old Honda Civic knocked workshop door. Dad, open. Entered, looking aged 5 years weak, unshaven, rumpled, dark eye circles. Need talk. Okay. Can't afford rent asking no. Car's back dealer. Okay. Emily may move parents. Between you, Emily, Dad, drowning. No. Work something? What something? Lower rent, plan, something. Michael, what changed since Christmas? All changed. No. What changed you? Quiet long. Broke. We're broke 3 years back. Not new. Embarrassed about? About said, how treated you? Why embarrassed now not then? Because all know. All know what? Lied. Couldn't afford life. Father paid all while I ashamed him. Started crying. Dad, sorry. Sorry for? Excluding Christmas? Letting Emily talk you that way. Pretending self-made really subsidized. Michael, know why did this? Punish? No. Save from what? Becoming someone mom wouldn't recognize. Wiped eyes. Dad, don't know fix. Want fix? Yes. Start honest, Emily. Yourself? Me? Means decide part family or above, want part. Then act. How? Sunday dinner. Bring Emily if wants. Not if not. Dad, Michael, Mom said, respect like bank. Deposits withdrawals. Can't spend what lack means overdrawn 3 years. Start deposits. What deposits? Kind mom proud. 6 months later, Michael Emily divorced. She moved Connecticut, married Dad's partner within year. Man knew social groups, never questioned hierarchy. Michael moved 1-bedroom Medford Drive's 2015 Toyota Camry, makes own payments. Every Sunday dinner cooked together, something Emily never let thought beneath. Talk work, life, future building own hands. Dating nurse named Laura grew South Boston, her dad firefighter. When Michael introduced me, her parents said, this dad, John, built top electrical firm Greater Boston. No qualifiers, no sorry, no shame. Laura's dad, I talked union jobs retirement. Michael joined, not redirected. Here new family rules. Respect non-negotiable. Money aid needs mutual respect. Family loyalty, not charity. Most key, money tool build ties, not by Michael learned hard way. Emily never. Margaret proud man. Michael becoming ashamed man, almost was. Difference boundaries. Viewing this, subscribe tell where tuning. Remember, real class not money. How treat those can't aid you. Family not overcome. Honor.